What's going on, Coatesville, Seville? Welcome to the Seville Sports Mentality Show on the 610 Seville Sports Network. It is officially showtime and the official launch date of the Seville or 610, the Seville Sports Network. I am the Sports Rev with Coatesville's own MistaGrub, a.k.a. Levi Worthington. What's going on, Mr. Grub?
Everything is going on, Rev. Everything is going on. We ready. We coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And we want to welcome everybody to this Seville Sports Mentality Show experience. Please feel free to comment, put it in the chat. We'll put your comments up. And we're going to have a good time. We got a great show ahead of you all. If you don't mind, please like the Seville Sports Network Facebook page. And if you're on YouTube, can you subscribe to the YouTube channel? We can't go live on Facebook yet because our Facebook page is not 60 days old yet. But we did share the link on our Facebook page. Matter of fact, it's from one of my pages, so feel free to tap that page and tune in. I think we've shared it on the 610, the Seville Sports Network page. So feel free to comment. Let us know that you're watching. We want this experience to be an interactive experience as we talk about Coatesville, as we talk about Philadelphia sports, so forth and so on. So somebody might be asking, Mr. Grubb, why do these two guys have a show? What makes them qualified to have such a show? So it's only fitting, since this is our first show, let's give them some insight on the Sports Rev and Mr. Grubb. And since you were born and raised in Coatesville, I was born in Westchester, lived in Coatesville when I was 2, about to turn 3, and then I moved. I'm going to let you have home field advantage. And you go ahead on and let the people know who Mr. Grubb is and why he's qualified to talk sports and Seville sports. What you got, Mr. Grubb?
I'm just a guy. Anyway, listen, man, we are qualified to have fun. We are qualified to bring the community together with our local sports teams. As a great basketball player once said, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So, Rev, this is what I'm going to say, man. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk local sports. We're going to talk national sports. We're going to keep the community informed of what's going on with our local high school teams in Coatesville and around the surrounding areas. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're going to give the fans. We're going to give the people. Going to give the people what they want. Going to give them what they need. Gotcha, Red. I'm done. Go ahead. You got it.
So what the people want is you to tell them about yourself.
Oh, man.
That's what the people want, Mr. Grubb. Who is Mr. Grubb? Why is he qualified to talk sports? Let's try it now. Go.
Listen, I'm qualified to talk sports because I played sports. I played basketball at the high school level. I was a 2-year varsity basketball letterman at Cash, Coastal Area High School. Played under Coach Ross Kershey. Our famous coach, Scuggy Smith. He was with me throughout the 9th grade, all the way up to the varsity. I was a senior captain my senior year, second leading scorer behind the great Rip Hamilton, and back in '95. And as far as Mr. Grubb is concerned, I am the co-owner of Mr. Grubb. As far as basketball is concerned, I used to have an AAU team back in Lancaster. I had a whole club and ran that up there for about 4 or 5 years. So I'm not the smartest dude in the room, don't want to be. But I will bring my insights and my points to the show, and it will be mostly funny.
All right, Mr. Grub, thank you for that introduction. Some folk don't know who the sports rev is, so I'll be happy to let you know who I am. I am the sports rev, aka Michael Clayton Harris, aka to others, Pastor Michael Clayton Harris. I was a 3-year varsity letterman at Benjamin Elijah Mace High School in Atlanta, Georgia. That's not suburban Atlanta, that is in the city of Atlanta. During my senior year, I graduated in 1995. I happened to be the team's leading scorer, also the team's MVP. And also, I was fortunate enough to be one of the all-city basketball players in the city of Atlanta. I was blessed to have a full scholarship to play basketball at Morehouse College, where I was a 4-year starter at Morehouse College, and I finished my career as the 4th all-time leading scorer in Morehouse basketball history. Had I not messed up my knee going into my senior year, I probably would have finished being the 2nd time all-leading scorer in Morehouse history, but that's water under the bridge. Also, I was a former coach. I went back after my playing days to coach at my high school alma mater, where I was an assistant coach and on 2 boys basketball state championships. And within my 7 years as an assistant coach, I also had a state runner-up. And if you don't believe me, I've already showed Coach John Allen and the Coatesville boys basketball team the 3 rings that I came here from the ATL with. So I think we're a little qualified to talk a little sports, and we're grateful for this opportunity to be able to provide this platform. And we want you all to engage us. We want you all to comment. We want this show to be interactive. So we're looking for your comments in the chat so we can put them on the screen and we can dialogue on what you all have to share as well. But with that being said, Mr. Grub is from Coatesville. I was born in Westchester, lived in Coatesville the first 2 years of my life. Most of my life has been in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta for 32 years. The Lord had me to come back to pastor my childhood church, First Baptist Church, Passtown, in technically Valley Township, but we have a Coatesville address. And this is why I'm here in Coatesville, because I pastor the great people at Passtown. But with that being said, also I have a vision to be able to talk sports. So, Mr. Grub, as we talk sports and as we talk about Coatesville, I need your help. Because every time I move around, especially in sports circles here in Coatesville, I see this I see this Coatesville mentality. So I need a true Coatesvillian's help to help me understand what is this Coatesville mentality all about. Can you hook me up with some Coatesville mentality now?
Absolutely. So the Coatesville, it's actually the Ville mentality. That was originated by the Avery brothers, the Jordan brothers. Is it Jordan? Avery? Yeah, it was originated by them. But I'm gonna tell you this, Rev. There's always been a Coatesville mentality. I can tell you from my days playing, the schools that we played, whether it was Downingtown, Westchester, they used to fear Coatesville, and that was way before me. But they would fear Coatesville because we would in basketball, we would run, we would press. We would run them until they could not run anymore. That's the Ville mentality. We will play when the whistle blows to start the game, and we will play until that last whistle blows to end the game. There's no giving up and there's no excuses. That's Ville mentality.
I like it. I like it. I appreciate the knowledge on the Ville mentality in Coatesville. And let me ask you a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Before you knew about the Ville mentality, did you play with the Ville mentality back during your playing days at Cash?
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you, Mr. Grub.
Come on, man. Not to bring up Skug already, but man, we used to practice taking charges. We used to practice. He would take the ball, stand in the middle of the court at the baseline, One guy here, one guy there. Roll the ball down the middle of the court, corner of the court, whatever. Whoever gets that ball, you get up, you make that layup. But you got to get that ball by any means necessary. That's the Ville mentality. You wake up, you got brush burns on your elbows, on your knees, on your chin's bleeding. I mean, come on, man. That's Ville mentality. It taught us to be tough. And then not even talking about football. I quit football in the 9th grade. Know why? You gonna ask me why?
I'm afraid to ask you why, because I don't know if that is indicative of the Ville mentality, because Moose Mulvaney, thank you for chiming in. He just said the Coatesville mentality is to never quit. And you talking about you quit football in 9th grade.
I used to cheat off of Moose's paper.
Well, you won't get a 0 for it now.
That's right. Got my back, Moose.
But Moose said the Ville mentality is to never quit. So why did you quit playing football?
Well, I retired. Put it that way. I didn't quit. I retired. Come on, Rev. I was 125 pounds soaking wet. And Stackhouse had me playing middle linebacker. Come on, man. That's suicide.
It sounds like you got into an early retirement because once you got on that practice field, somebody stuck you real good. And you said, let me put down the pigskin and grab a basketball because it's a little safer. That's what it sounds like to me.
Safer. You don't see stars. I mean, I knew about CTE before there was CTE.
All right, now you telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. You got stuck in practice, and God, that's why you waved the white flag. God
ain't got nothing to do with it. He saw what happened, and I said, I'm done. I quit. No, I retired.
He saw the best in you and said, you know what, son? The gridiron is not for you. Hey, the wood floor is best for you. And it's all good. It's all good. All good. Let's move forward real quickly.
No, hold on 1 second.
Go ahead.
The best in me.
Oh, Lord.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now you're going to start singing in the show and you barely sing at church. Okay. Nevertheless, we're going to move forward with the cash checking. Here, listen, I know it may be a little bit difficult because we're not streaming it directly to the 610 C-Ville Sports Network page. But if by chance you're a graduate of cash, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, we want to do what we call the cash check-in. And if you don't mind, type in the chat what year you graduated from cash. We want to acknowledge you. So this is what we call the cash check-in. I know it might be a little difficult, especially again, since we're not streaming directly to our Facebook page, and we won't be able to do that for a few weeks because last year Facebook had the wise idea that you got to have your page for 60 days before you can start streaming on the page. So if there's anybody out there who doesn't mind chiming in, letting us know that you're a graduate of cash and what year, that would be greatly appreciated. Brother, MistaGrub, what year did you graduate from cash?
95.
1995. I must say that was a good year. Because
walk to school barefoot 5 miles to and back.
Well, I don't know nothing about that, but it was a good year for me because that was the year when I graduated from Mays High School, the school on the hill in the ATL. If I were in the South, they would say Shawty. Yeah, that's the year I graduated. Moose Mulvaney said 95, baby, right along with Levi. Okay.
Oh, man.
So you got a classmate watching.
That's right. They support me, man. They love me, man. I love them back.
All right, man. Okay. So I'm co-hosting this show with some good company.
Yo, Rev, listen. Your resume is impeccable. My resume is like, give me a smash burger. Yeah. So the people supporting me, that kind of balances some things out, Rev.
I got
the people what they want.
I got you. Kim is in the building. She's representing that 1995 on YouTube as well. Oh, man. There you got another classmate.
Kim. What's up, Kim?
And we got to thank her. She's been a huge help to launch us up into the deep. So we appreciate Miss Kim blessing us with Sports Network. A lot of the stuff that you've seen with the logos and all of that good stuff, the countdown that came on, that was her magic. And we appreciate the magic that Sister Kim has brought to the 610 Coatesville Sports Network. Anybody else can chime in. Let us know if you're a graduate of Cash. Go ahead on. Let us know that you have graduated from Cash. With that being said, we're going to move forward. And we know that the Cash check-in will pop off a little bit later, especially when we can stream live and direct to our page. But nevertheless, let's keep this train moving. And we're going to actually talk some basketball now. Because we do know that the boys basketball team of Coatesville had 2 games this past week. They had 2 W's this past weekend, rather, and they beat rival Downtown West. Let me rewind, push play, and say it this way. They beat Downtown West in their gym on Friday night. Then they come back and beat 6A ranked Plymouth White Marsh in at Coatesville's gym. So I know you weren't able to make Friday night, but what did you see on Saturday night that impressed you, Mr. Grub?
Hey, Rev, I seen a strong team. I seen a strong team from the starting 5 all the way down to 7th man, 8th man. I get excited watching this team, man. I told when we had the event for them and they came to the church and we fed them, man. I told them, I said, man, I feel something special about this team. You know, they're going to go through some adversity, and they did. They lost 3 in a row, but I think that they're on the right path. I think that the insertion of Jonas Chester in the starting lineup, I think that was a big move, man. You know, so they got Larry Brown Jr. and Chester. They got Colton Hiller. He's 6'5". His jumper's wet. College ready already. He's only 14 years old. I mean, they got a strong team. They're young. You know, they got the 2 senior guards, Nazir and Amon Folks. Listen, the future's bright for them. All they got to do is continue to stay a team, you know, and support each other, and the sky's the limits for them.
That's dope. Before I comment, Deshauna Chester has chimed in, class of 2000 in the Cash check-in. Thanks so much for chiming in. Kim told us that Keith Proctor, class of 95, chimed in on Facebook. What's going on, Keith Proctor? I believe that's the Keith that's a member of the First Baptist Church of Passtown, and he was also your classmate, Mr. Grub?
I don't. The name sounds familiar, man. I'm getting old, man. I see.
I got to introduce you to people at church. He comes to church, so don't even worry about it. We're not even going to act like you. We're not going to even dwell on that. We're going to introduce you to Keith so you can know your classmate. See, I'm not accustomed to having so many people in the graduating class because we have more than one high school in the city of Atlanta, so we got spread out. Our graduating class was like 400 people. And I know y'all pushing on 800 to 1,000, so I can understand. I'm going to give you a pass for not knowing all your classmates. So we're going to keep this train moving. But I appreciate what you said about the team. And I'm going to chime in real quickly. I am a big basketball fan. If I weren't called to preach, I probably would have been coaching basketball somewhere. My dream was to go to the collegiate level to coach basketball, but God had other plans. But nevertheless, I like what I see on the court with this Coatesville boys basketball team. I've been to probably almost half the games this season, and I like what I saw this weekend, especially after they came off a 3-game losing streak. I'm glad that they got themselves together. They regrouped, and they came away with 2 big-time victories this past weekend. I was at the game at Downingtown, and I must admit, that was a nice sight to see a gym jam-packed with people, even on a little snowy night. And the people came in, and Coatesville said, this may be you all's gym, but we're going to make it our house. And it was an impressive game. It was balanced scoring. They played great, tough defense. The guard set the tone. Armand Folks, Sr., as well as Nasir Williams, the transfer from Philadelphia, they set the pace with tenacious defense. And then big Larry Brown down in the middle was rebounding and also getting putbacks and intimidating people on the other side. And you all got to forgive me. My forte when I played basketball was I was a shooter. Matter of fact, I finished, and I still am, the person at Morehouse, or the player at Morehouse, that has hit the most three-point shots in Morehouse history. So I love a great shooter. And the freshman Colton Hiller is somebody's shooter. This young man has a D1 jump shot, three-point shot right now. He's not a spot-up shooter. He can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot off the catch. He can do the little step back and hit it. This kid is special, and the whole team is special. They have great chemistry. And MistaGrub and I had the opportunity not to see what they did just on the court, because I'm not going to repeat what MistaGrub talked about on Saturday night because I had the same commentary. But the sign of a championship team is what they do off the court. And we had the opportunity, we being the First Baptist Church of Passtown, we had the opportunity to invite them to have lunch with us or dinner with us about 2-3 weeks ago. And they were very impressive on how they handled themselves. Matter of fact, the players beat the coaches to the church. And they were very well mannered, very respectful. They did what they were asked to do. And I was so impressed with that, more than I've been impressed with anything that I've seen on the court. I told you all, I've been a part of 2 state championships as a coach. And you can pretty much know if some team is championship worthy based on how the players conduct themselves off the court. Many teams have been ruined because of the culture off the court more than on the court. And we got to give big props to Coach John Allen for the job that he's done developing a winning culture on and off the court. And what they do off the court will help them be better in what they do on the court. And therefore, this is the first team that I've seen since I've been in Coatesville, and this is going on my 4th year, that I think has a legitimate chance to make some noise to get to the final game. Coach Allen's had some good teams his first 2 years. They've advanced. But this team, like you said, Mr. Grubb, there's something special about this team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the end of the road will be for this particular team. You want to add something, Mr. Grubb?
Yeah, man, I was just listening to what you were saying about, the way they handle themselves. And you have to give credit to Tootie and his coaching staff. One thing I was watching, and I looked when they were there, looking at that coaching staff is very, very strong. There's a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience on that coaching staff. And Tootie is a leader. He's always been a leader. And I don't want to get too much into Tootie before we talk to him, but I got to give those guys credit, man. And on top of that, I got to give the parents credit because I see them picking up, dropping them off. We've had many of the events for these boys. And the same thing, parents picking up, dropping them off. And they're there before the coaches, on time, acting like great young men. You know, I know a few of the parents of some of these boys, man, and you understand and you can see why they are the way they are. They have strong fathers, strong mothers. Man, dude, I get excited about Coastal basketball, especially since Tootie came back, because before we really didn't have a vision or an idea of where the program was going. No slight on any of the other coaches. There was different circumstances, but when Tootie got hired, one of the first things he said was he's going to need help from the community. He put it out there, and he asked us. And I'm going to tell you, it's not just me. It's not just you. It's a multitude of people that support this team from behind the scenes. Quincy Till, Major's been supporting the team forever. Guys like that, man, when they say Ville mentality, like Miss Pam Det always says, it takes a village. No, and the village has shown up for Tootie and those boys. Man, we got something special going on here.
Man, I appreciate what you said about the parents because that's critical. I know I coached 7 years at Benjamin Elijah Mays High School. And the 3 years that we went to the state championship, we won it twice. Parents were critical. Fathers in particular were critical to the success of our team. Our strongest teams is when the fathers were present. And matter of fact, they used to get on us as coaches when we didn't get on their sons. So whenever you have strong parental involvement, you are set to have a lot of success, especially if you have the talent and skilled players to go along with it. So I appreciate you making that point, Mr. Grubb. And I want to give a big shout out to Coach Allen. We're going to have him on in 2 minutes. We're going to have him on in 2 minutes, but I want to give him a big shout out for making himself available to the community. You got to have community involvement, especially when you're the biggest sports show in town. And the way that he's endeared himself to community organizations, he's taken the young men to different places so that they could get various exposure. That has been huge for these young men, not just now, but it's about what happens in the future because they're going to spend way more years as young men, future family men, than they ever will on the basketball court. So we want to applaud Coach Tootie. As a matter of fact, we're going to get ready to set it up for Coach Tootie to come on. And if you don't mind, and if you haven't already done so, won't you go ahead on and hit that share button? Let somebody know that you're watching the Coatesville Sports Mentality Show as we get ready to prepare to bring in the coach that we've been giving kudos to in just a moment. All right, so go ahead on, hit that share, and I need y'all to get ready to hit that like button. I need y'all to get ready to hit those hearts because we want to flood Coach Tootie with those hearts and likes. So without any further ado, no more talking. Now it's time to set this introduction up. It is our proud privilege to have on the show a Coatesville Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Chester County Hall of Fame inductee, as a player, 2001 state champion, a college player, played at Seton Hall, 4-year starter. He had the opportunity to play professionally overseas. He's been blessed to have the opportunity to come back to his hometown and provide leadership as the head basketball coach of the Coatesville boys basketball team as he's entered into his 3rd year. Coatesville, can you give it up right now for your coach, our coach, Coach John Allen, coach of the Coatesville boys basketball team? Can y'all give him some love? What's up, Coach Allen?
What's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
We good?
Man,
How's everything? I apologize for the headphones, man. My kids will be interrupting us at some point. I'm 100% sure of that. So bear with me. Bear with me. The little
You
one
good,
likes
man.
to
You
play
good.
PlayStation.
You're good, man. We understand it. Mr. Grubb is a parent. I'm a parent of a grown adult now, so I used to be where you used to be. So we get it. We understand that comes with the territory. But nevertheless, we want to thank you for joining us for our very first show. We wanted to make sure that we had a Coatesville legend. And matter of fact, if I could get this thing right, you're starting off with what we call the Seville Sports Legacy Conversation. So this interview is going to be more about you and less about the team, and we'll get to the team towards the end. So, Mr. Coatesville, Mr. Grubb, you got the first question. Hit Coach Tootie.
So, Tootie, what was it like growing up in Coatesville? I know how it was, but we want to hear from your perspective.
I mean, Coatesville is my home. It's great. I've been all over the world, so I've been to, man, probably I lived in 5 different countries. But I've probably been to 15 to 20 different countries. But, I seen y'all talking about Ville mentality a little bit earlier. And, that doesn't just apply to sports. It applies to everything.
Yes.
Right. So I've been all over. I carry that with me. And it was great. My childhood was great. And my parents were great. My siblings, my sisters, I'm the youngest of 5. So lived on the avenue, born and raised on the avenue. So my childhood was great, man. I can't complain about anything.
So I just want to follow up on that too.
Yep.
You spoke about Ville mentality, and it's more than athletics. It's about life. And you also spoke about being able to visit or live in multiple different countries. And you know as well as I do, there's some people in our town that has not even been out of our town. So the reason why I asked you that question is because I wanted to see and hear your answer and your experience on being able to do that. But it was you were able to do that through the sport of basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known Rip for a long time, but I know his dad. I know his dad also, right? And his dad told me a long time ago, maybe mid-90s, when I was kind of blossoming into it, and Rip was already in college. His dad told me, he said, "Yo, man, use basketball. Don't let basketball use you." And that always stuck with me. And I've always tried to do that, right? Like, use this thing. Don't let it use you, right? Don't let this be who you are. And he told me that, 25, 30 years ago. And I try to keep that with me all the time, even now.
Coach, now you're a little younger than me and Mr. Grubb. And I remember
I seen him play,
show.
though. I seen him play.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, we both 95, so we got at least 6 years on you, right?
Yeah.
So growing up, there used to be a show called The Facts of Life.
Yeah.
And one of the primary characters was named Tootie, played by Kim Fields. So ever since I've been here, I've been hearing a grown man. And you see, you grown man, great basketball player, being with the nickname Tootie. So you got to help the sports rep out. How did you get the nickname Tootie, and how have you let it stuck? Because I know sometimes we get nicknames as children, and we want to get rid of them as we grow up. So help the sports rep.
Yeah, my mom. I mean, my mom when I was a baby, and you'll have to go to her for that. She told me like 2 different versions, 3 different versions, but you'll have to go to her with that. But it always stuck. I mean, a lot of people in Coatesville know me from my mom, from my sisters, from my brother. Like, they know me from that, not from basketball. So I know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me in Coatesville from them. I'm the youngest of 5, right? So a lot of people know me from them. And my mom was, my mom is in the community, and so a lot of people know me from that. So that's the way it stuck. It stuck. It didn't stick from like basketball. It stuck from, people just knowing my family. And a lot of people see me today and they like, I know your family. Like, we go way back just because of my family, not because of basketball.
I got you. So since mama gave you the name, The name Hicks. I got it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
I got it.
Tootie, we the last question I asked you, you spoke about Big Rip and his influence on your life and your mindset. Who were some of the other influences growing up in Coatesville, or people that influenced you to one, stay focused, and two, just to finish it out, man?
Yeah, so many. Like, I mean, I think back, it's like, obviously my parents, right? My siblings, they're all older than me. But then, like, I got two of them on the bench with me, and Hicks and Mark Bailey, right? So, like, Mark was my football coach, my first ever football coach at like 9 years old. So, and now he on the bench with me. You know what I'm saying? So, Hicks, Gary Bowers, Barry Jackson, Yakim Jackson, man, so many. Jeff Washington was my coach of football. It's so many people that I can't even, just around the town, like nobody would ever let me get in trouble or out doing crazy things when I was young, just because they knew my family and they knew who I was. So there's so many like influences and people that coached me when I was younger. I couldn't even name them all. And if I missed anybody, James Starkey, obviously, like I couldn't even name them all, but like people were always there for me. I was always out in the community playing football, baseball, whatever it is, down Ash Park. So there's so many influences of people who didn't let me go, you know, on the wrong path that I couldn't even name them.
Now, Rev, as you're learning and you're finding out that our city is so small, and when Tootie says that, and rest in peace, Barry Jackson, he was my coach in midget league on the Steelers. I was a quarterback. You know?
Yeah.
I threw one touchdown, Tootie.
I think I did too. I think I had one touchdown in 2 years. Yeah.
It was a Hail Mary.
Sure.
And I got on top of that.
Mark tried to put me on the line. He tried to put me on the offensive line. I wasn't having it, man. Then he had me at tight end. We joke about it all the time. He put me at tight end, man. That was my thing. I caught like 2 passes in one season. But I played with some dudes. I played with some tough dudes on that team.
Let me move on right quick. You were part of a team that no other boys team has done in the city of Coatesville. You won a state championship. I'm not going to throw shade. I was about to say you did something that Levi never did. Or MistaGrub, my bad. What was it like playing high school basketball for cash and winning a state championship for a city that had never done it when it comes to boys basketball?
I mean, it was special. And I can't, you know, there's so many memories because the year before we also won the district, and we were a game away from the state championship. We lost in the state semifinals. And, you know, now older, I got gray hair, I got family, I got kids. Like, you know, you forget like yesterday, right? Like you forget yesterday, right? But the memories that I have is that we won with my brothers, right? Like lifelong friends, people that I grew up with, and people that I'm still friends with today. Like that's the most important thing to me this day is like Eric McCumsey's principal, right? Like Reese is my man, and you know, all these guys, Chris White, like we bump into each other and it's all love, man. We spend so much time and it takes so much to win something against other communities. You got people cheering against you and yelling at your screen. It takes so much togetherness to face adversity. I'm sure I don't have to tell y'all that. Like it takes so much of that the biggest and best memory that I have is I got a chance to win with guys I really genuinely call my brothers. Like we staying the night at each other's house, you know, playing video games. Like we go all the way back to like Head Start. So that's the one memory that I have. It's like I got a chance to win with my brothers, like people that I really, really, really grew up with.
That's good stuff. MistaGrub.
So you see this hoodie I'm wearing right here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This is a special edition, limited edition. Don't ask me where you're gonna get it from. I can't tell you. So you know his name was gonna come up So I got to
Yeah.
ask you, because I know what influence he had on my life. Rev knows. I mean, the guy touched so many people, man. What was the influence that Skug had on your life?
I think you know, you try to say like try to think of like one thing, but you know, Levi, you've been around Skug forever, right? Like there's never just one thing. He had like his Skuggyism, and then we reference on the bench to this day, like, man, Skug would have handled this situation, like me, Hicks, and Mark would talk. Skug would have handled this situation X, Y, Z. So we reference him. So it's not like it can't be just one thing, right? We've known him 20 plus years. Like it can't just be one thing. The man was so iconic, and the people that he touched. I think if I can say one thing, I think the way that he cared about people, right? I think Shaman, when Skug passed, he posted like a handwritten letter that Skug wrote to him after his senior year, and it was like he did this for everybody, right? Like he you know, he would send you stuff. I'm sure y'all got some of the memorabilia that he gave y'all, you know, like he just cared about people, man. He didn't care if you was the last person on the bench or you was a star player. Like he just cared about people, man. He didn't care, you know, if you took a wrong turn in life, you know, it didn't matter. Like everybody I know greeted Skug the same way. Skug, what's up? With a hug, right? Or a dap. And he greeted them the same way with love. So, you know, I think just the way that he cared about people is something that will always stick out to me. He was just so iconic with everything else, but I think just the way that he cared about people, like people in general, boys, girls, everybody just greeted them the same way, and that's unbelievable to me because that doesn't happen now.
Let me follow up that question real quickly, because you're a basketball coach now. I used to coach, and oftentimes, to help a team be the best team it could be, coaches normally have a philosophy.
Yeah.
Like one of the greatest coaches that I used to read up on was Morgan Wooten, who coached at DeMatha High School and was responsible for a lot of the guys that went on to Georgetown and other teams, big time D1. And his coaching philosophy was play hard, play smart, and have fun. So what would you say was Coach Skoogie's philosophy for you guys?
Well, I think he always wanted us to have fun, which we had a lot of fun at his expense, right? But like I think he always wanted us to have fun, but he also taught us a lot about being a man, right? And the way that we dress at the time, you know, Iverson was the biggest thing going, and he had the braids, and everybody wanted braids in school. He wouldn't allow us to wear braids on the court. He wouldn't allow us to sag our pants. That was a big thing at the time. You know, we had to wear khakis to away games, like just small stuff to teach us how to be men. That was normal in the real world, but really wasn't normal to us. So he you know, he was molding us and helping to mold us. And I don't know if his philosophy was sports or basketball related. I think his philosophy was more so about life, and it was about life, giving life lessons to everybody.
I appreciate you sharing that. And we're talking with Coach John Allen, the coach of the Coatesville boys basketball team, and we're greatly appreciative for his time. I want to move you from Coatesville to your college playing days. Now, I did a little research on you. You were a bad boy. Because I heard that you were honorable mention McDonald's All-American. That's a huge feat to even be honorable mention during those days. Now, you know, if you wear the right shoes, you could be honored. You could be the McDonald's All-American, all that stuff. But that's another story for another day. So I know you had to have had more than just Seton Hall recruiting.
Yeah, for sure.
I can imagine you scored over 2,000 points. That you had schools from all across the country wanting Tootie to come to their school. So if you don't mind, who were some of the schools that recruited you, and why did you settle on going to Seton Hall to play college basketball?
Yeah, it's a good question. First of all, I got jerked out of the McDonald's game. I should have been in the game. Easily should have been in the game. But that's neither here nor there. Some of the schools. So my final five was UConn. UConn called me, and Rip had just left, and I didn't want to follow what he had just done. What he had just done was iconic, right? Like still to this day, Rip is probably maybe the greatest player in UConn history. I mean, arguably the greatest player in UConn history. Still to this day, after numerous NBA players. So I didn't want to follow that. I kind of wanted to go in my own path. I had University of Maryland, which I was high on University of Maryland. They had some really good players at my position, and actually my freshman year, they ended up winning the national championship.
That was the team with Steve Francis?
No. It was right after Steve Francis. They had Juan Dixon.
Okay.
Juan Dixon. Juan Dixon was at my position. Steve Blake was there. Byron Mouton. I forget they had somebody else, but they had dudes. They had dudes. Lonnie Baxter was there. They ended up winning the national championship that year. Who else? At Syracuse, it was just too far for me. I didn't want to go too far. I just didn't want to be that far. It was a lot of snow up there.
What did you say?
Yeah, I just didn't want to go that far. I think it really came down to Temple was another one. My dad is and was a big John Chaney guy. I'm a big John Chaney guy. I respected him so much. And they had some guys in my position that I really knew was good. And then Villanova was that was it for me. Villanova was it. I was going to Villanova. My cousin had just went there. My cousin Malik Allen, he played in the NBA for 10 years. Yeah. His son now, Dante, has a chance to be a McDonald's All-American at Mount Verdi High School in Florida. So my little cousin got a chance to be a McDonald's All-American this year. But Villanova was it for me. And I was sold. I was sold on Nova, but I had got word that their coach was leaving. And whether he was fired or whether he resigned, I don't know. But I had got word that Lapis was leaving. So once I heard that, I had to kind of pivot. And Lapis, after my freshman year in college, Lapis left, and Jay Wright came in. So Jay Wright was his first year was my sophomore year. I pivot. Seton Hall had a young coach, a black coach, Tommy Amaker. My mom liked him. He was energetic. He recruited me, and over that, the time, I developed a lot of relationships at Seton Hall. Some of my AAU teammates was going there, and at the time, Seton Hall was the top 10 school in the country. They were top 10. They had just got the #1 player, Eddie Griffin, out of Roman Catholic. That was my homie. So we were rolling at the time, and then Eddie went to the NBA. He was 7th pick in the draft. Sam Dellenberg, he left. He got drafted by the Sixers, right? And then Tommy Amaker got the job at Michigan, all before I went to Seton Hall. But I didn't care. I was like, I'm going to play at Seton Hall. That's all I cared about was just playing. That's all I cared about. I was 2 hours away from home, from the crib, and I just wanted to play. So that was it.
We appreciate you. Now, Mr. Grub going to take you to the next level you played on.
Yeah.
So you played overseas, and it got to a point where your career is winding down. At what point did you decide what you were going to do with the rest of your life at this young age? And when did you decide you were going to coach?
Like when I was like my second to last year over there, man, my knees was bothering me. I was taking like Motrin every night. I had to like ice my knees 4 times. Like it was just so much wear and tear on my body just for the practices, the playing, and travel over the years. And, by that point I was 30 years old, and I had been playing since I was like 7 years old, man, just like competitive and going hard. So I knew that was it for me. I wanted to be home. At that time, the economy had turned. That was right during the recession. The economy had turned. So the money went from up here to like now it's down here. So it didn't make sense. So I kind of just thought like, man, at 35, I can be making the same money at home I could put my Seton Hall degree to use, or I could just become a college coach and be making the same money at home in the States. It's nowhere like the U.S. Let me tell you that, first of all. They can spend it any way they want, but being at home, being around your family, it's nowhere like it. And at the time, I lived in Jersey. I lived in North Jersey anyway, so it wasn't just Coatesville. It was like, I want to be back in the U.S. So I just thought that I would use my intelligence to get. By the time I'm 35, I'll be making the same money doing something at home that I could be playing over here. And that's kind of where I was. And
Coach, real quick before you move on to the coaching, I want to go back to the playing. What countries did you play in, and how were those experiences?
I played in Finland. It was cold. It was really cold. And then Israel was great. It was hot all the time. It was on the Mediterranean. I lived on the beach. It was like Miami times 10. And then I went to France. I lived in France. France was great. France was awesome. Made some lifelong friendships and relationships over there. Every country I did that. Finland, I say it was cold, but I still talk to some people on Facebook from Finland to this day. My coach and some of my teammates. Then I went to France. I went to Germany. Sorry, before France, I went to Germany, and Germany was awesome. Met some of my teammates there. I still talk to this day, like American teammates. Actually, my homie Jason was just up here on New Year's with his family, so he was up here, at my house with his family. So Germany was great. Then I went to France, and France was great. France was probably the closest country to the NBA that I played in. All-Star game, shoe contract, all that. And then Poland. And I went to Poland, and that's kind of when I knew I was done. And then I finished out. I did a summer in the Dominican Republic. I played down there. That was more like a vacation, a paid vacation. And then I was done. Yeah, I was done after that.
I'm going to pivot to coaching real quickly, but let me Derek talked about Chris Wilcox was also playing at Maryland at that time.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Then one of your former players chiming in, D.R. Kennedy is chiming in. And Heather May, thanks for the love. Feel free to type in your comments. Let us know that you're watching. We appreciate the love as you're watching the show.
Dior got to call me. He know why. He got to call me. He said he was going to call me. He ain't called me.
Okay. All right. Well, Dior, you've been put on notice. Keep that in mind. With that being said, MistaGrub was leading you to the coaching. When did you know that you wanted to coach basketball? And as a former coach, I know how important coaching mentors or role models are. So who are some of those coaching role models or mentors that you had that helped build you to become the coach that you are today?
Obviously, Scoot, Hicks, Coach Orr, Coach Bailey, like all the influence I talked about earlier from Coach or everybody. But also my coach at Seton Hall, Coach Orr, my AAU coach, Jim Salmon, those guys really, and my dad, I can't forget him. My dad, obviously, he was a big part of that. But for me, I wanted to be a college coach, and then I realized how much work you needed to do and how much you're away from your family, and then you got to convince, 16 to 17-year-old kids to come to your school and the stuff that you got to do to convince them. And I wasn't there mentally. I had just finished playing. So, I coached high level. I coached at EYBL on the Nike circuit. We won in 2014. We won it, New Jersey players. And then I started to, I can help kids do this. I can help kids get to college. So I really felt like that was my calling. I coached at Coatesville for 1 year as an assistant coach in 2013, I think. Coached some great kids. The football team, the football players that went to the state championship, they came back and they made an enjoyable experience. And I see them to this day, and they, it's all love. And then they got their families. It's funny because they was high school kids and they got their families. So, just kind of being in the community, working camps and stuff. I would come home and I would work Hicks's camp or work Rip's camp. and just seeing the kids, I felt like I could take some of my experiences that I learned in different countries and different places and apply them here in Coatesville to the people that I grew up with and a lot of people who I just call family from being around. So I really wanted to take that and apply it to these kids. That's kind of when I really put a plan together in my head about coaching in Coatesville. I can't coach high school, but I can't coach high school basketball anywhere else. I'm not coaching high school basketball anywhere else. Only Coatesville.
So Coatesville, you got Coach Allen until he retires. Give it up, Coach.
Yeah, but we don't know how long that is. But I wouldn't coach another high school.
I got you. I'm reading between the lines. I'm gonna just leave it right there. I'm reading between the lines. Yeah. But before we go on, I'm gonna ask Mr. Grubb to give you one more question. Then we're gonna do something fun, what we call Red Raiders Rapid Fire. But there are people in. We want to give big ups to Councilwoman Carrie Avila Hunt, who's chiming in. We appreciate her. I believe this is a relative of yours. Said, can't forget Pop.
My sister.
Deanna Allen.
My older sister. Yeah, that's my older sister. Shout out to her. She's going through her surgery right now, so she's recovering. So shout out to her.
We pray for her and we pray for her healing. Seriously.
Absolutely.
Jasmine Butler said, that's right, Dee. So she was in her amen.
That's my niece. That's my niece right there.
And she said, we will always support you near or far. So you must be a good uncle.
Yeah, I try to be.
All right, Mr. Grubb, give him one more question before we get to this Red Raiders Rapid Fire so he can go ahead on and spend some time with his family.
All right, Tootie. One more question, but I do got to give a shout out to Derek Jackson and Julius Gray. I had to get them guys in there. And Dior did come by and get his chicken fettuccine Alfredo.
And we ain't ask you to do no plugs for Mr. Grubb right now.
It's my first day. I'm trying not to get fired, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Toot, last question, man. What are your long-term goals for the Coatesville boys basketball program?
My long-term goals, man, is number one is to make sure that all of our kids graduate and they go on to do something after college, after high school. I'm sorry, whether it's college, whether it's a trade, whatever it is. My goal is to make sure that they have a path to be successful after high school. That would be my number one long-term goal for our program. So when if Mr. Grubb has a restaurant or a food truck and one of our kids wants to be a chef, then I want to be able to give our kids, our seniors, our upcoming seniors, whatever it is, an internship with Mr. Grubb. You know what I mean? Like that would be the ultimate for me. It has nothing to do with winning and losing. We're going to go through wins and we're going to go through losses. But it's to always make sure that they know they came from a program that was handled professionally, right? Our program is handled professionally. We practice with our practice pennies on. They washed every single day by Coach Bailey. We got food before the games. We pray before the games. We support each other in everything that we do. So this is a professional program, professional high school a professional program, right? And then once you leave here, it's not over. It's not over. We're going to make sure you get a trade. You go into a trade or we want to my long-term goal is to make sure everybody feels that, whether you're the last player on the bench or you the leader scorer.
Hey, that's what's up. I appreciate that comment. I appreciate you thinking about the young men beyond playing Coatesville boys basketball because you see the big picture, and I truly applaud you for that. So this is what we call right here Red Raiders Rapid Fire. So now I'm going to just give you something, and I want you to respond in 1 to 3 words. No sentences right now.
Do I have like a time limit? I got it.
No, 1 to 3 words. 1 to 3 words. The first thing that comes to your mind. Now, remember, I got the power of the mute button on my side. So if you start going giving sentences now, I'm gonna have to push the mute button. But 1 to all right. So now you got to show you coachable right now. All right, here it is. The Cage on First Avenue.
Iconic.
Ash Park.
Legendary.
9th Avenue.
I got championships.
There's 3 words. All right. Cash.
Oh, that's home, man. That's home.
Chess my league.
Oh, man. You're going to get me in trouble, man. We don't lose.
We don't lose. That's 3. You got it. Seton Hall.
We'll be back.
Lewis Hall.
It's my guy. It's my guy.
Big East.
I know this is a show by the Rev, but old school. Let's go with old school.
I appreciate it.
I was going to go tough as you know what, but
I know what you got.
old
I got
school.
you. I got you. Playing in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, it was great. It was so unexplainable. Unexplainable.
All right. Now this might make you, this is the last one. Because I did my research and they won 2 national championships during your time. UConn and Jim Calhoun.
They won 1.
1, okay. Okay. You said that a little defiantly right there. No?
No, they won 1. They got 1. My boys played for it, so Rip and Shaman went there. So
now they got 2 Big East championships though, didn't they? During that time.
I'm not sure. And once we lost the Big East, I'm going home. I'm not paying attention to anything that's happening. I'm leaving Madison Square Garden. I'm going back to my room, and I'm not saying nothing to nobody.
I got you.
But UConn is a great program. It's just a great program.
All right. Well, Coach, we're gonna let you go. And guess what?
That was easy.
No. I got one more for you. Man. One more for you.
All right, go ahead. Give him extra credit. Give him extra credit.
Chicken fettuccine Alfredo.
That's team meal, man. Team meal all the time.
I was hoping you were going to say delicious.
So, Mr. Grubb, you're going to start paying for this airtime. Just know that, man. You're going to start paying for this airtime. These little subtle Mr. Grubb. I'll give you a plug on your smash burger, one of the best burgers I've ever had. Before we let you go, Coach, we just want you to see some of these comments. Heather May said, I love your message, setting them up to succeeding in all aspects of life. Jim LeConte, this is great. Heather May, she typed that twice, so she was really excited about that. And Jasmine Butler said, the cage is history. And Heather May said 1. Man, we want to thank you so much for joining us for the very first show of the Seville Sports Mentality. We hope to have you on a couple more times, at least while the season's going on, so we can talk to you about the particular team. But today was all about us getting to know you, people in Coatesville knowing some other stuff that they may not have known about you. And we truly appreciate this. And guess what, man? You told a lie on your children. They didn't even bother you during the interview.
No, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I actually got to check. I'm nervous right now. I got to check and see what's happening. One of them did come down here.
So I don't know. These kids, because they proved you wrong, it's going to be McDonald's or Chick-fil-A on me. I know these kids like Chick-fil-A better than McDonald's. So let me know.
PlayStation.
I can't help them with that. That's a parental situation right there. But when it comes to fast food, I got them. Let me know. Thanks so much, man. Can y'all give it up to Coach John Allen, a.k.a. Tootie, and we look forward to continuing to support you and your team. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate both of y'all, man. Keep this going. This is great. This is awesome. If y'all need my help and getting some of the other coaches from the high school here, because our track program is legendary across the state. Our football, not more than just that. The other sports, man. If you guys come to the school any given day, you'll see all of our kids working hard in every sport. I'm sure you roll past the school when there's been a practice and you see some of the soccer players or field hockey in that field. Like our kids work extremely hard and our coaches work extremely hard. So I'm happy to get those guys or women some airtime to talk about their respective teams also. So let me
That's
know
what
if
it's all
y'all
about.
want to do that.
That's
Yeah,
what it's all
yeah.
about. And work on getting us a press credential so we don't have to keep paying coming to the game since we legit now.
I got you, man. I got you.
All right, thanks
All right.
again, Coach.
All right, no
That's
problem,
two.
man. Y'all have a good night. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, no doubt. All right. Thanks again, Coach Allen. That was a wonderful interview, and we truly appreciate him taking the time to hang out with us during our first show. Before we move on, there's some comments, and someone throwing some shade at your burgers, MistaGrub. Todd Clark said his burgers are okay. David Williams says, awesome job, gentlemen. Thank you for the love. Ducky Parker, salute, brothers. Great opening show. We appreciate you. Jasmine Butler said, keep shining. David Williams said, way to go, Levi, my man. Deanna Allen says, thank you. Kirsten Ferrant, I'm going to just stay with Kirsten because I don't know how to pronounce that last name and I don't want to butcher it, but she's sending some Coatesville love. And Jasmine Butler says, great show. Deanna Allen says, yes, the work so hard. And Deshauna Chester showing some Coatesville love. So we appreciate the love. Won't y'all like the 610 Seville Sports Network page? We truly appreciate it. In about 50 some odd days, we'll be streaming directly to the page, but also go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. We plan on having some more great interviews. And Sister Tyra, man, thank you all the way from the ATL. Thanks for showing some love to our show. Listen, we got two more topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to turn and shift gears from basketball and talk a little football because there's some football going on this side of the state of Pennsylvania. And we know that history might be in the making real soon as we talk about the semifinals for Penn State. And I don't hear a lot of people talk about Penn State, but we got to talk about them because they have advanced to the college football playoff semifinals, and Coach James Franklin is on the brink of making history, along with Marcus Freeman. For one of them will be the first African-American to coach in the national championship game, and if either one of them win it, they'll be the first African-American ever to win a national college big-time D1, I forget the phraseology, but please forgive me, big-time D1 championship. And Coach John Franklin spoke on possibly making history. Listen to him speak.
I don't usually talk about this publicly, but my goal is to be the first African-American football coach to win a college national championship. That's something that's very historic. So I spend very little time talking about because really my job is to help the players reach their goal. But that's something that maybe we can do together.
All righty. So we have heard from Coach Franklin, and we see that his team has done extremely well as they have embarked upon playing in the first 12-team college football playoff. The reason why we're talking about Penn State, because as I did my research, Penn State is approximately 2 hours and 40 minutes from Coatesville. And we know that it is truly Happy Valley in that section of Pennsylvania, being State College, Pennsylvania. We know that Penn State advanced to the semifinals. They beat an ACC team in SMU. Nicholas Singleton and Dayton Allen combined for 2 rushing TDs, and the defense accounted for 2 TDs by having 3 interceptions in that game to help Penn State advance past SMU to play Boise State. They put the beat down on Boise State, beat Boise State 31-14. QB Drew Allers threw 3 touchdowns for 171 yards. Kay Allen ran for 134 yards on 17 carries to get the victory. And as we talk about Penn State, we're going to be talking about the Eagles in just a minute. So hang tight with us as we talk a little football. So now Notre Dame comes to go against Penn State in the semifinals of the college football playoff. I already talked about the history that is to be made. MistaGrub, Are you giving Penn State a legitimate chance to beat Notre Dame and actually win this college football playoff? What says you?
I mean, we got the 4 and the 5 seed going on at it this weekend or this week. Penn State has been. You spoke about James Franklin and on the brink of a championship, and he's made a major turnaround because he was on the brink of being fired. There's a lot of people in this area that they just were fed up with James Franklin and his not being able to reach the standards of Penn State. We have probably, I know of 2 residents of Coatesville. One is Tina Nicholson, who's played at Penn State, great star, and one's just a regular.
Hold tight before you go to the next. She didn't play football. She played women's basketball. We just want to be clear about that.
You're right.
Go ahead.
Only about 5'6" or so. She's not going to play football. But,
who's the other person?
The other person is Danya Langley. I got to throw the shot at her because she is a "we are Penn State" person, and it gets on my nerves. But anyway, I'm picking Penn State to upset Notre Dame in this game and to advance to play either Texas or Ohio.
Ohio State. The Ohio State, who my little cousin, Riley Pettyjohn, out of Texas, just signed with, and he'll be on the roster next year. But nevertheless, I'm going to give my best Lee Corso impression. Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast.
You made mention about James Franklin being on the verge of being fired. James Franklin has not won a big game yet. Yes, he beat SMU. Yes, he beat Boise State. But we're waiting for him to beat Ohio State. We're waiting for him to beat Oregon.
So you
and Notre Dame just beat one of the perennial powerhouses, my team, Georgia. And they beat them real good.
How did I know you were going to bring Georgia into this?
Hey, I got to call a spade a spade. What's more impressive, beating Georgia or beating Boise State and SMU? You tell me. I won't even let you answer. But I'm happy for James Franklin. And I'm happy he's advanced to the semifinals. But when it comes to sports rev, I need to say, turn out the lights. The party's over. It's over, Penn State. I'm sorry. It's over for Penn State.
I thought you was going to start singing Teddy P.
No. Oh yeah. That would be effective as well. Yeah. So let's see if there are persons who care about Penn State. Listen, we're about to talk about the Eagles, so don't leave us. I need y'all to help us answer this question. Chances of Penn State winning the Natty, that's the national championship. Are you giving them a strong chance or not a chance? Can you put that in the chat? That's our question for you. Are you giving them a strong chance or not a chance to win the Natty? So go ahead on. If you can't help us, we're trying to get some involvement with the crowd. Are you giving them a strong chance or not a chance? David Williams, I got an amen today. He said the pastor has a point. Listen to your pastor, Mr. Grubb. He says they have the ghost of Knute Rockne on their side. I got a witness.
Man, I'm sick of y'all trying to jump me here. I got the pastor, and then I got my conscience on the other side, David Williams. He's stalking me.
Hey, the facts are the facts. And the bottom line is James Franklin doesn't have much of a chance. All right, Sister Tara Mann says she's giving them a chance.
Thank you, Tara.
It sounds like that chance is probably a wing and a prayer.
Free smash burger for you, Tara.
Anybody else giving them a chance or not a chance? Will you comment in the chat, giving them a chance or not a chance? And we'll come back to them if anybody else comments on it, because we know that this is Eagles country as we shift gears. And we know that it's the Eagles versus Packers once again. But before we go there, Rev, Stephen Crutchfield, one of the best associate ministers, not just in Coatesville, but not just in the state, but in the country. Thanks for tuning in, Rev. We appreciate the love. He says, not a strong chance, but Franklin has to have them boys ready. Notre Dame is tough. Thanks for chiming in, Rev. We appreciate that. So matter of fact, not a strong chance. That sounds like he agrees with Rev too, doesn't it?
No, he said not a strong chance. That means they got a chance.
He said not a strong chance, though.
You ever see Dumb and Dumber?
Well, he didn't say not a chance, but he said not a strong chance. So he's kind of like in the middle. Okay.
So that means I got a chance.
But he said not a strong chance, and the opposite of strong is weak.
Apples and apples and oranges and oranges.
All right, we'll go with that. Whatever you said, we'll go with that. But nevertheless, let's talk a little Eagles. Before we go deep, and we know they're playing the Packers, I forgot to post this. Should Saquon, I don't even know how I want to say it. Should Saquon have been able to go after the record? To go after the NFL rushing record. And we know yeah, that sounds right. I gotta make sure my English right, because my mom's probably watching the show and she's the grammar police around here. With that being said, Rev want to make his point, not a strong chance of Scarlett Allen sending some love. We appreciate you. I want to give one of the most beloved Eagles to ever play a chance to kind of frame this significance of the record that Saquon was denied. Jason Kelsey, one of the ESPN personalities, had this to say about.
But listen, this is a 40-year-old record. In my opinion, it's the coolest record in football. The rushing record, it's only been held, that I know of, by 3 guys: Jim Brown, O.J. Simpson, Eric Dickerson. This is the 100-meter dash of pro football. It's the baddest dude to play the game, and it's a record that would stand not just for Saquon, it would stand for the offensive line, it would stand for the city. It's something that is going to be the most historical thing that would happen off this season. I've thought about this a lot, Baldy. You have.
All right, with that being said, Mr. Grubb, should Saquon have been able to go after the NFL rushing record? We know that you're an Eagles fan. Was he deserving of that chance?
First of all, I want to say, stay out of our family business, okay? Stay out, because you like to throw your little shots in there. You try to sit there like you're serious about this question.
I'm just doing my job.
Okay, all right. I'm trying not to get fired on my first day, okay? So listen. Listen, I don't want to be a hypocrite, because earlier in the week, I was going back and forth with people on Facebook saying that it's not a big deal. Records are meant to be broken. Somebody could break the record next year. So what does it matter? You're going to hold on to it for the summertime? But at the same time, it was a coach's decision. And I'm sure Saquon agreed with it at some point in time, But we have him now. He's healthy. We're ready to roll into the playoff weekend. And we're going to win. We're going to move on. So let's forget about this whole Saquon nonsense, because you non-Eagles fans always want to start some drama. We ain't worrying about the rushing record. We're worrying about winning a chip. We need another chip, because y'all not accepting us sitting at the table with one chip, and I'm tired of it.
So Jason Kelsey said it means something.
Where I said.
Jason Kelsey said it meant something, Mr. Grubb. And I'm in the middle. And I know you told me I can't get in family business. For the record, I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan, more so a Patrick Mahomes fan.
And who else?
So I know what championship football looks like. Also, I became a Chiefs fan because you all's Chester County boy, Matt Ryan, while he was the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons caused me to lose my Falcons joy. It started with the debacle that was 28-3 in the Super Bowl where they lost to the New England Patriots. It went on to some other games the next year when they lost the playoff game to the Philadelphia Eagles, the year y'all won the championship when Nick Foles beat Matty Ice in quotes at the link. So I just had to put context. I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but I am in the middle, and I'm going to speak objectively. And if y'all keep watching the show, you will come to know Sports Rev will be objective to all teams, inclusive of his teams. So I'm going to speak objectively. On one end, I think Saquon deserved the opportunity because we know football is a business. He needs those type of things for his resume. Now that he's actively playing and post-football. How much more money will he get when he goes to speak if it's stated the NFL rushing leader for a season of all time? That's extra dough right there. That's going to help him well after his playing days. So for him personally, he should have gone for it because that's going to help him not just now, but until the day he dies. And also, that would solidify him being a Hall of Famer. Because if we're honest, Saquon's resume across the board is not that impressive because he has a lot of injuries that's tied to his career. So for Saquon personally, he should have gone for it. But for the Eagles' purposes, he shouldn't have gone for it. And for the team purposes, they did the right thing because of just what I said about his injuries. Saquon is known to be injury prone. And we know.
Why are we talking about it?
If Saquon is not on that field, the Eagles have no chance of winning the Super Bowl. Do I have an Eagles witness?
See, you had me, man. You had me. I'm like, yo, Rams making some good points, man. Like when you said about the after football life, you know, that record means something. It could generate more income for you. And the first thing I thought about was that incident with Brett Favre and Gastineau. When Gastineau walked up to him and told him, man, you cost me money basically by falling down and faking that sack. Mm-hmm. So when you made that point, I said, man, the Rev is on, man, he's rolling. Until you got to the point where you got to throw your little shots in there at the Eagles.
What shot did I throw that wasn't factual? Matter of fact, before you answer that, Rev up here trying to throw shade on me. He said, thanks for the shout out, Rev. But listen, Mr. Grub, you got it right. Watch him. Oh, really? Really? But I feel like resting him was the right thing for the injury. All right, so what did I say that wasn't factual?
Eagles fans know what you said. We know you just put me on
I
the spot.
know what I said. I'm asking a question for you Eagles fan and for the one that's sharing the space with me.
Right.
What did I say that wasn't factual? I'm going to rewind, push play, and say it again because you're in your Eagles feelings. You're in your Eagles feelings. I need you to be objective. This is what the sports rep said. Saquon has to be healthy because without Saquon, the Eagles are not Super Bowl contenders. Where's the lie?
Listen, man, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Don't ever ask me, what did I say? Women do that to men, and we don't know what the heck they said. So
do y'all hear him deflecting, trying to talk about women? I want him to answer my question. I want him to answer my question. Where's the lie in what I say? No deflecting. Matter of fact, I know this might trigger. It's a yes or no question.
What's the question?
Sir, stop deflecting and answer as we get ready to wrap this show up.
Listen. We're not going to talk about injuries with Saquon, and we all know that if Saquon's not on the field, our chances of winning diminish greatly. So, I mean, the question, it's reality.
Oh, okay. So why did it take so long for you to get to just say, hey, you should have just said amen. That's all you could say.
No.
That's all you can say.
It ain't that easy. I'm not just going to say amen when you're talking bad about the Eagles.
No. See, I got to catch you. I didn't speak bad about the Eagles. I spoke facts about the Eagles that you confirmed. It took you a while, but you confirmed it. So we're going to just leave it right there. All right, real quickly. Rev Crutchfield says, speak facts. You speak facts, but he's speaking to get facts in return. Don't get drawn in. Rev, you working on being put out the pulpit now. I'm just letting you know. Sister Man said Eagles didn't start becoming relevant this year until he came to the team.
How you gonna fire that man on his day off, man?
No, I'm just messing with you. I like those facts, Sister Man. All right, so let's shift gears because you wasted 5 minutes of the watcher's time. All right, so we're trying to get ready to close this show up, and thank y'all so much for supporting the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Real quickly, because we got another thing we got to get to. What chance are you giving the Packers and the Eagles? I mean, what chance are you giving the Eagles against the Packers? This is a rematch from the very first game of the season where they played in Brazil, neutral field. This game will be at the Link. What chance are you giving your Eagles?
Eagles got home field advantage. These are two totally different teams from the first game of the season in Brazil. I give the Eagles, they will win the game. I'll say Eagles by 5, and the game will be closer than that.
So I need you to give a little bit more commentary. What aspect of the game will the Eagles? What aspect of the game will propel the Eagles to victory?
Obviously, we just talked about it. Saquon Barkley, the guy that you're hoping doesn't play. We are winning.
Now you put words in my mouth. See what the devil making you do? Look at you in your feelings. You putting words in my mouth. Look. So you're relying. I'm gonna help you out. So you're relying on the running game to be the factor where the Eagles beat.
That's what we've been relying on all season.
Okay.
That's after the offensive line walked into Sirianni's office and said, "Hey, man, we need to run the ball more." That's what we've been doing. We stuck to it.
So you're not concerned that Jalen Hurts hadn't played in 3 weeks?
No, man, he's fine. He's good. He's good. He went through the walkthrough. He's playing. There's no problem with him. He's good.
So you're talking like he's that quarterback.
See, now you're putting words in my mouth.
I mean, just talking about he's good. He played 3 weeks. I'm a Mahomes guy. I would be a little concerned if Mahomes hadn't played in 3 weeks. But I could take the attitude like you had because the man got chips. 3 chips like that. So he knows what it's like to win, but you're talking like Jalen Hurts, that dude.
What does Patrick Mahomes got to do with this conversation? Why do you keep inserting the Kansas City Chiefs?
See.
I'm a one Kansas City Chief fan.
You just missed the analogy. I'm asking you a question about your quarterback who has no hardware. He had one good playoff run. So I said I would still be concerned about Patrick Mahomes if he were in the same situation, but I can land where you landed with Jalen Hurts because my guy has 3 rings. My guy has done it hurt. My guy, matter of fact, beat your guy and your Eagles with a bad ankle. So I know my guy can do it. So what about Hurts makes you feel so confident that he could just walk on the field?
Your guy.
Be that business. Be about Super Bowl business.
Your guy and the refs beat the Eagles. and they're still continuing to do the same dang on thing now.
So,
Tell the truth, man.
Hold on. You still crying? Here's a tissue. Come on, what? Here's a tissue. I got some tissues for you. Still crying over something that happened 2 years ago. Come on, man. Get over it. So the running game's going to win. I don't trust Jordan Love in this situation, so I'm going to go with your Eagles to win this particular ball game. And I think they'll win by a touchdown. I think home field advantage is going to be be a big difference for the Eagles to propel them to victory. So thank God that this game is at 4:00, so the members don't have to tip out early like some of them do. We won't call no names. All right. All right, here we go. We're about to conclude the show, but one of the things that's really dear to me and Mr. Grubb is to celebrate the life and legacy of Coach James Scoogie Smith. I know him as Deacon James Scoogie Smith, and I'll always say he was a far better Christian than he was ever a coach. And we want to pay homage to him on this show on a regular basis. We're paying homage to him by wearing these Scoogie hoodies today. And as Mr. Grubb said, they're exclusive, so don't ask us where we got it from. But nevertheless, we want to provide a Scoogism each week. And so we want to pay homage to him, and we'll get to that Scoogism. And for those who don't know who we're talking about, I'm sure everyone from Coatesville knows who we're talking about. Let me put up this image. That's Deacons / Coach Scoogie Smith, and we're going to give a Scoogism for the weekend. Mr. Grubb, who had the privilege and honor of playing for Coach Scoogie, provided this Scoogism for the week. He says, as my years go by, my memories will forever be with me, and no one can take them from me. Real quick, Mr. Grubb, how would you interpret those words?
One of the last conversations I had with Scoogie was face to face, because he would call or text, but face to face. He expressed a lot of things that he wanted to be remembered by. You know, it's if you don't know Scoog, you won't understand what this means, because he was a person that touched so many people. And I say to him, like, dude, how you got the time to talk to everybody? But you find people, like, it doesn't matter, like, what gender or color they were, black, white. I mean, over several decades, you can't take that away from him. You can't take the impact that he had on kids' lives, adults' lives. Those are the memories he's talking about. So that's what that means, man. That's what it means.
Well said, man, and we appreciate that. And this gets ready to conclude the first episode or first show of the Coatesville Sports Mentality Show. And one thing we want you to know, we are all about sports with a touch of Christ. And I just want to insert this. The Coatesville Sports Network, 610, the Coatesville Sports Network has been created. The Coatesville Sports Mentality Show has been created. There was a vision, and then there was action on that vision. And there are many people that I've come across in Coatesville who are gifted and talented, have skills, but they don't act on those skills. And I want you to know you have what it takes. If you have a vision, skills, or talents to do what you are capable of doing. Because this scripture speaks to your ability to do it, where it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Again, we're all about sports with the touch of Christ. And I pray that somebody gets the strength through Christ to do what you're capable of doing so that great things can happen for you. Thank y'all so much for watching the first episode of the Seville Sports Mentality. We'll be back next week. Same Facebook page, something like that. Same YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to our social media platforms. With that being said, Mr. Grub, it's been real. Thank you so much, brother. Any parting word?
Peace, hair, peace, love, and hair grease, man.
No diggity, no doubt. Peace and love. We'll see y'all next week.